Yay. Okay. Welcome to 5D All Day. I'm Danielle Kane, and I have some lovely people here today from the community with Spirit Calling. So I'm excited that we get to finally chat. We do this every month, the fourth or fifth Friday of the month. This is the fourth Friday. And so we kind of just share a little bit about what's going on or topics that I might come up with or someone might suggest. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about like ebb and flow, like the flow and surrender, kind of through this journey that we all have. I've gone through a lot in just 1 month, so I can't wait to hear what everyone else has been up to, and in those circumstances where we have to kind of just take a step back and just allow. I'd love to you guys to share that for anyone that might be going through similar experiences. So that's what I've got for today. And then we can just free flow too. So welcome, welcome.
That
Okay.
sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. So again, I'm Danielle Kane. I am a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. I also do entity release and chakra rebuild, chakra clearings. I'm a podcast host for 5D All Day and for the Conscious Broadcast. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with Pamela on this project. So that's a little bit about me for anyone who's just tuning in for the first time. And why don't we circle around just to introduce ourselves so people who chime in later can know who's chatting. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Tim?
I'll go first. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
go
can
for
hear
it,
you.
Madeline.
Oh, Madeline, you want to go
Sure.
first?
Yeah. We're
Perfect.
just introducing ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, well, my name is Madeline Wolf. I actually it was a pretty cool situation with Pamela. I went to this drum circle several months ago, and she went there too. It was before she moved, and she had was talking about, this platform and everything, and then it just happened to be uh uh shortly thereafter, we just ran into each other.
That's so
And yeah, we just ran into each other again. And I was actually just going to get a smoothie from this smoothie shop that I love to go to. And
are
she was
are you in
walking.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
Where?
Oh, uh South Jersey.
Yeah, me too. Well, I know Pamela lived in the town over from me before she moved, so we're like neighbors too.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
it was after she had moved, but she had to come back to visit her mom or something like that. And that's when we ran into each other, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
great. Well, if you're ever doing a
And
drum circle, you better let me know because I'd love to. We always like to catch up. My husband and I are very into that kind of stuff, so that's so awesome.
they have them at the Universalist Unitarian Church in Cherry
Yes,
Hill.
I know exactly where that is. All right, very cool. Very nice. So you guys met there?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then how long have you been with Spirit Calling then?
I think it's only been a few months.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks so much for popping in and getting to meet with us because it's a journey, right? And it's so fun to be able to talk to like-minded individuals. That's what this space is all about, and to kind of share a little bit. So thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, great to see you again, Madeline and Nicole. Um, yeah, I'm Tim Wolf, and I've kind of been around, I guess, since the beginning of Spirit Calling, helping from a tech perspective launch everything, but excited to be here today and connect on my own journey. I guess the last, you're asking about the last month or so. Definitely had some things that I've been, feeling called to do for a long time. Some parts of it probably years, and I've taken a lot of action on that in the last month, which has been really cool. And I know it's going to be really freeing and set up some things I've wanted for a long time in my life as we move forward. So
That's awesome. I
listening to spirit, got to do it, you know.
can't wait to hear more about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nicole, are you able to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, I've been with Spirit Calling for, I don't even know, not quite a year, but for a while. And now I'm guiding mass meditations for Spirit Calling on the last Sunday of every month, which will be this upcoming Sunday. And I'm a sound healing curator and the creator of Awakening Mass Meditations. So I'm constantly just dabbling in the frequency, vibration, sound world all the time and just bringing whatever I can that's dropping seeds to enlighten the humanity the same. So I'm just constantly coming up with projects, collaborations, and just doing what I can. It's been really exciting. But like we were talking about the last month, it has definitely been some different energies. We can all agree on that, I think.
Yeah.
And to just being kind of propelled to do different or shift different things or being, I don't know, just the intention is like so important right now in what we're doing with everything we're doing. So yeah, I'm just creating meditations and music and sharing with the world.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And I wore your shirt the other day.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, for Earth Day. I didn't wear it on Earth Day, but my kids are like, "What are you gonna do to clean the earth, Mom?" It's like we're gonna go out there and get some trash with our is
Yes.
it APM or AMP?
Yeah, the Awakening World Project.
AW. That's what
Yeah.
Awakening World Project. So you
Yeah.
also do that as well, which is probably a crucial time to be getting out there and
Yeah.
helping Mother Earth clean up now that we're getting into summer very soon.
Yes, absolutely. The calling for that has been absolutely at the forefront. I did an awesome post about that and had a great reaction with people buying all these impacts to do the cleaning or planting around your area. So it definitely is just, again, literally planting that seed and watching it ripple outward and just the connection with the planet and everybody as one. There's no better feeling than that because that's something we can agree to connect on because it's where we live in and surrounded in all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Well,
We
I
kind of
love it.
need our planet, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's so many different things going on right now. So I'm going to start off, if you don't mind. So I wanted to talk about ebbs and flows because we are like waves, right? We're energy. We have our frequency. We can be high and we can be low. And sometimes I forget that, I always want to be high vibing. And unfortunately, this year was a challenge for me from pretty much the beginning. And I'm kind of like at this lower part of the ebb right now. So, what like Nicole, you kind of said intention wise is sometimes we need to be able to feel. I don't know how you guys respond to difficult situations, but I tend to avoid my feelings, avoid validating them. Number one, that, I'm a very good, I have all that I need. I'm a good person. I shouldn't have to have um, these emotions and a lot of just disregarding my being. And I've worked heavily on that. But sometimes when the world gets so tough, it's like you break. And so I had to surrender. Literally the other day, I was like, why am I back to the same place again? But it's not the same place. And so I had to remember that, there are going to be ups and downs. And then this is where the big growth is. The big growth is when you are able to come out of these circumstances. But I don't know if you guys know, but I didn't really share it at all. Nicole is the only person that knows, but I had just recently put my cat down, which I've talked about on many shows. And that same day, my kids' school, they're in like an alternative school. It basically closed abruptly. So I was like out to like figure out what to do with my children. And it was just devastating because there was a lot of emotions on how it happened, why it happened. My daughter was involved with other educators in her theater, and it was just like very, very challenging. And it threw me for something that I'd never experienced. And I guess I go, okay, guess I'm ready for another dark night of the soul. Here we go. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been, and my kids are situated, but I'm still kind of finally feeling those effects of that circumstance. and pushing aside, my feelings and just being able to mourn this cat and like feel what it feels like for things to kind of crumble because I was taking action. So, how do you guys respond to circumstances like that? Have you guys had anything like that where, you found after things that had not gone right, you in this type of awakening journey, how are you responding to things like that?
Yeah, I'll go because I actually was having a conversation not long ago around the eclipse time, and it seemed like a lot of us were kind of going through one thing or another. And a good analogy or different perspective is that individually we're all kind of going through our own like eclipses, our own little mini blackouts, and our own like forced to go within. And if you don't, you're going to keep going through this bumpy road. But like we are saying, it's not all, we want to be high vibe all the time, but in order to flow, you have to be able to have the sine wave, the ups and downs, and just trust and know that, our environment that we live in, everything with the planets and how we're connected, we're constantly going to be pulled in and out of emotions and feelings. And to give yourself grace in those moments is so big and important.
Mhm.
And it's okay to have those times where you don't feel like you're high vibing because that's where the work can really be done when you're having this mini blackout where your world like seems like it stops, but it's ready for your new chapter if you can really do what feels right from within and not from the external processes. So even for me lately, I've just sometimes it's just an overwhelming feeling. I can't even put a pinpoint on what it is that I'm feeling. I'm just feel bottled up. And lately I've just been breaking down crying for no reason. And I'm just not even sure why. Like nothing's really like dealing with, but it's just this collective energy that's
It's like a
going on that
collective
we're all in.
heaviness or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. We're all picking it up, going through it. We know with the astrology, just everything changing, with light codes being put in our planet and within our everything. And so just being able to sit back and let the emotions flow, because I always say this, it's our toolbox, it's our compass. Let it be. Just if you need to cry it out, let it go. That is releasing so much pent up, who even knows what that's stored in all of our body systems. And
Yeah.
so it just is really important, I think, to give yourself grace in those moments and not see it as a, what am I doing? I'm down. I can't do anything right type of mentality, because it's directly the opposite. This is where the magic can truly happen for when you come back up and you rise back up again, that you have what you need for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been feeling that the same, and that's what I've been dealing with, going through.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Mhm.
shared a little bit about how I was feeling with some of our members at the gym. I also own a gym, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. And someone was saying, when you go through those times, it's like you can feel through them. It's important to, recognize, give yourself grace, but to also then have gratitude for like all that you have. And I think that was huge too. Like I can also start to look at the upside of things. Cause I said I had such a good 2023 and my 2024 has been rocked, man. And it's just like, but you know what? This could just lead to more to match it. She's like, well, then match it to be like what it was, if not better. And being grateful the fact that everybody's healthy and like where I am now. And it's really gratitude, I think, is so important. I think we do gratitude. Do we still do gratitude Tuesdays on Spirit Calling? I knew we used to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
But
Gratitude Tuesday.
yeah, I think that helps too to kind of stop and pause and kind of look at the bigger picture too when you feel so stuck in it at that moment.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but what about you guys? I mean, if you guys have been having high vibes, you don't have to talk about the low vibes.
Well,
I
I,
just,
I actually think like, I think energetically this month has been, I mean, Nicole mentioned the word release a lot. And I think,
yeah,
and you mentioned heaviness. Like, I mean, the purpose a lot of times of that heaviness is so that you can release it. And,
yeah,
rather than it being a little kind of hanger on all the time, like you can finally really let something go. And I think the energy is very strong this month for that. And so I think, I mean, sometimes it's just understanding the perspective of that and, knowing that, a feeling of heaviness isn't always negative. It's just
yeah,
what is going on right now.
exactly.
And so, I mean, I just like to think a lot like, we want to fly, we want high vibes. I mean, the more weight you put on a plane, the harder and harder it is to get off the ground, and
Mhm.
at some point it might not even go off the ground, right? And so you have to be willing to let a lot of that go and find the things that are supposed to be there and the ones that aren't, and let everything that's not needed to fly go. I think that's a really good metaphor for
Love that.
what we're
That's great.
going through
I
right
think
now.
that's a great, great metaphor because
Mhm.
sometimes you want to start with something and in theory you really wanted it, but then as time goes by, it kind of morphs into something different and you got to let go of the original idea wasn't really what was meant to happen, but it's okay to let those things go too. Absolutely.
And,
That's like
and we're in,
my whole schooling world with my children went that way. Talk
and our
about like
journeys are
trying to
ones.
avoid mainstream and then having to like, oh my goodness. Anyway,
I think all this
From
is a
dark to
journey of
light, though.
exploration and constant refinement, right? I mean,
absolutely.
it's all
Yeah.
about, it's like circling closer and closer to like what it is you really want. It's not like finding, oh, I want that one thing I know perfectly. Let me go right after that. It's like all of these experiences just bring you closer to the thing that your soul is calling you to do, right?
Yeah. I loved how you said circle because again, like I said, I felt like repeat, but really it's not repeating. It's just kind of circling back into like, hey, this is the direction you're going now.
Mm.
Yeah. The
And
spiral, so it's going up as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
Madeline, did you want to share anything? I just want to make sure you can chime in at any time or you could just listen. So it's up to you.
Thank you. I I guess I can relate to the heaviness. The last few months I've been kind of struggling with a little bit of depression, unfortunately. And I've been just trying to kind of just change the way that I think, to just try to be more positive and like just have uh like just like an outlook of more positivity because I don't know why I just depression is just something that is hard to deal with, but it's something that I've struggled with on and off like pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
So and but I'm hoping that in the coming days and months and weeks I'll kind of be able to get myself out of it.
Yeah. Do you find that anything in particular takes you to that place?
Of being depressed.
Yeah. Do you like feel it come on? Is it like a sensation or is it a time in your life that seems to reoccur?
Um, Sometimes it's situational.
Mhm.
Like I totaled my car the other day, and I so now I don't have a car now, and that's very depressing for me,
Mhm.
and it's gonna take me a long time to save up for a new one.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I'm not really sure. Uh, Sometimes it just seems like sometimes it just seems like this cognitive thing with me where I'm just not really sure how to be, like just how to be,
Yeah.
just how to be and how to function and just how to kind of be in the moment
Yeah.
and like have a positive uh perspective.
Totally. I want to share, if you don't mind, a little bit about, I would say I'm not, wouldn't be at the same level of depression, but what I found too is like, I couldn't just be like, I programmed myself to just be doing. So I was constantly in a state of like fight or flight almost all my life. So rather than being on the parasympathetic, the depression part, because it's the ebbs and flows, right? This is perfect. I'm on the sympathetic. I'm up here. So I'm constantly like, I got to do something. if I'm not doing something, then something's wrong, right? So whereas if you're on the lower part, the parasympathetic, and if you go too low in the parasympathetic, it leads to depression. If you're at like a standstill, it's like, I'm just here. Like, why am I here? And then it brings you back down to like, what's the point of all this? I just lost my car. And then all this stuff kind of builds up. So it really is like this balance that somehow along the way in our journey kept us from that natural flow, right? So like right now I'm in this ebb and I'm like, I got to get out of this ebb because I'm so used to being high, not necessarily high vibing, but like almost like in survival, that when I'm in a low state, I feel like I'm not allowed to even be there. So it's this weird, bizarre cognitive belief that I don't even deserve to feel sorry for myself or anything like that. So for you, it's getting you back up to that natural flow. And it really does it affects your nervous system. So it is your nervous system. The parasympathetic, sympathetic is your nervous system. So it's regulating, getting that regulated too. And a lot of that is helpful with breath work. I don't know if you do any breath work, but somatic breath work. So if something like getting a pillow or something and whatever, hitting it and thinking and just getting all the emotions of the car crash out. Because again, if it stays stuck in there, it's going to drive you down. Just kind of what Nicole was saying is like not letting it hold you back so you can get it out. And Tim, I think you shared that as well, because I think all of us at some level bottle all of these little mini traumas and these stories. And then we're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like, I don't even know what the next step is. And so we lose what the purpose is because we're not in the alignment of that vibration that we're supposed to be because of whatever happens. So that's something that I honestly had to learn because I was so outside of myself all the time because I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to feel anything. So now I'm working on feeling what it feels like, even to be in pain, but to be able to manage my breath and to stay present. Because if we're present, if we're in the past, we're depressed. If we're in the future, we also have anxiety and worry. So if we're present, that is when we're in most alignment with our soul. And that's where we create. So I don't know if that's helpful, but I know that was really helpful to me as I've learned this past year to really integrate into some of the strategies that I had that I didn't realize I was always escaping because of where I was with my body in general. But I know that's not for everybody. Everybody functions differently. But I know that
That was
breath
great.
work. What were you saying, Nicole?
I think you're hitting the nail on the head for a lot of people because you're touching on a lot of different things that just as a human, that's how we're processors. We're a computer. We're literally storing that information. And
Yeah.
so I love exactly what you're saying. And the first thing I thought of too was depression, living in the past, anxiety in the future, and how to be in the now. And the breath work is huge. And also, I talked about this on my sound healing thing, but just having something playing in the background, like subconsciously, you might not even be aware it's there, but it's still reprogramming your brain to rewire it to be in a more calm state so you can process differently. But I think what Danielle was first saying about being able to get it out, if you know it's something that's pent up, like for instance, you just had something physically shake up your world, literally, to get that out with a physical type of release is you can match that and it has a better release. There's so many ways to do it. And a lot of time, like in my situation, I don't even know I was feeling the way I was. I was just feeling, you know, built up, pent up from who knows what. And so to not really know exactly what it is okay also because we know these general things we can do with reprogramming our mind and our environments to breathe, to slow the heart and the brain to synchronize again, because we're constantly out of sync, which can cause our mind to not be in flow with our heart and get out of the spiraling negative talk, which is so easy to do in that state. So yeah, I just think everything we're saying is so great and really what's the word I'm looking for? It's for anybody, but whatever that is might not be for you, but we all deal with it. And so to be able to talk about it and know no one is alone in this. We all have feelings of depression. We all have feelings of anxiety because that is how the energy body is letting us know to get back into that flow again. It's not something we hold against ourselves, but it's something exciting to get out of our way. But yeah, I love all that.
Well
So,
said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole, for
Yeah.
wrapping this up for me.
no, you
I
too.
think,
Thank you for all of it.
yeah, there's
Go to.
there's a book that I love. It's called Letting Go by David Hawkins. I don't know if you've
Mm.
read it before, but it's really good. And there was something in there that just has worked really well for me in the past. And anytime this, you talked about heaviness, you talked about, you don't always know what the charge is, or maybe you need to sink into it and feel it more, and then let it go. But he has this sort of metaphor or energetic exercise that he does where he'll sit or stand and like put your arms in front of you, and then like as you're feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, you let all the weight of that just like flow to the end of your hands, like you're holding on to like a barbell at the gym, like a giant
Mhm.
weight, right? And then you know the feeling of like truly letting go is not like, oh, I let it go a little bit. It's like dropping the weights, right? And so at the end of it, as you build that up, you just like open up your hands and let it drop. And like that feeling as that happens, you just like, it's kind of, I mean, a little hard to describe, but it's just like everything vanishes from
Yeah.
that. So it's definitely a cool exercise that I recommend, and I highly recommend that book too. But um yeah, but I did that, and I actually did that a lot back in like 2000, was it 22, when I did my like darkness retreat. I did some of that in the while I was in there,
That's
and it
really
was
neat.
super powerful. Yeah.
Well, I think it's great. I think that at some point too, when you go through these, one reason why I talked about ebbs and flowing, right? Because if we're gonna face those times again, and like what is something that has helped you get out of it in the past? For me, my awakening journey happened because I was at the lowest point in my life where I really didn't want to keep going on. Not that I wanted to harm myself, but I don't know how I would have continued that version of myself. And that's when I found hypnosis. And I wasn't even looking for it. My sister was telling me, do crystal bowl healing. And I'm like, what's that? And that's another great thing. That's something that actually we do quite a bit at my gym. And like, I know Nicole has her sound healing, and she does her mass meditations, like just being with the collective. On that level is helpful. There's Reiki, there's all sorts of stuff. There's, like you said, if you're doing a retreat, I've been on a retreat with a bunch of women where we're kind of journaling, and it's like a topic of the day, and it's just like brings stuff up. So there's plenty of resources that I think that what we had done before were kind of, I don't want to say like if you agree or disagree, but were Western philosophies weren't working anymore. I know for me, like I tend to get seasonal like cold sores, unfortunately. And I was taking medicine for years, and like literally 2020 hit, it no longer even worked. So I was like, shoot, I got to figure this out. And I had to go outside and do something different to be able to help heal. I still can use supplements and stuff more that's natural, and I'm able to manage that a little bit better. But and they still come up as I have just had to deal with one. But I started to realize I had to do different types of resourcing because the things I was doing in the past weren't working anymore. And that's where the expansion was. It was like almost like a higher version of finding people. That's how I found Spirit Calling when Pamela came in. I wasn't expecting that at all. She came in just to train at our gym, and here she opened up a whole other opportunity to have these kind of conversations, to be able to find resources for when we're really struggling, right? I think that's where most of us have come here because we've hit some point in our life, the biggest struggle of our lives, and or maybe we've always been aware. But I mean, I would not be here had I had not had that shift in my life. I'm not sure about you guys, but did all of you guys feel like at some point, like Tim, for you, in order to like be aligned with spirit calling, did something happen that you like shifted out of some type of like corporate world, or I don't know, maybe you're still in it? Like what made you even come to this type of alternative space?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think, I would have my awakening journey started years ago. So I would I would
Mhm.
probably have to look quite a ways back for that. I think more gradually in my business over time, I've just aligned more and more with these types of like these types of companies. So that's
Hmm.
been a big part of it for me. But I mean, I've definitely had big moments in my life that have shaped who I am and what I do. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think one of the big ones for me is I was back in, I can remember the year now, but I guess it's probably like 2015, 2016, something like that. Um, my sister had a, uh, my niece basically died at 6 months old.
Oh,
And, like in the process of that, you know, I came to, I was over at my parents' house, just kind of wanting to help, right? Somehow,
yeah.
and, freaking out in my own way. And, um, I was sitting there and like, my whole family's running around kind of doing, I've never actually told this publicly, really. I mean, I've told it to people, but not,
Well, thank you for
not live
sharing.
on YouTube. So this is
Yeah.
fun. But we had basically everyone everyone was kind of running around and, freaking out. Obviously it's a very big thing that happened. And, I just knew in the moment, I was like, if I am going to be here and support my family, then I need to basically hyper process what
Mhm.
went down and
Yeah.
then be there. So I literally sat down in the middle of my, parents' room who are, they're very, very, very Christian. Definitely not, anything they would consider new age or weird. But I just sat down and meditated right in the
Yeah.
middle of that, and really focused on, kept trying to just bring it back to the breath, come back to,
Mm.
breathing and being, centered in my body, and I mean, there was all kinds of things running through my head. She had been with her father at the time, and I was like, did he kill her? Like, what
Yeah.
revenge fantasies and all kinds of things
It's
that
gotta
pop
be
up and
crazy,
came
mind
through.
blowing. I mean, that's like the hardest
Yeah,
thing. I can't even
yeah.
imagine.
And while I was, finally started to sort of, release some of that, and I was actually reminded of a spiritual mentor of mine at the time who I'd talked to not a month before this happened, and um, we'd been, I think the topic we were actually talking about was like, abortion. Like if everyone is a soul, like they come here, like how does that play into it? And
Yeah.
what he had said is that, he started talking about soul contracts, and that each of us have, before we come here, we make a contract to help provide people with a certain experience. And so, going through that process, could easily be an example of that happening. And so
Yeah.
when I thought about that, like it just connected instantly with, in the same way for my niece and the way that, in her dying. And I just found a lot of peace in
Yeah.
that.
I know
And
exactly what you're talking about
Mhm.
too. That's
Yeah,
gotten me through a lot of things. And I think in the last conversation, I don't know if were you here last month?
I don't remember, maybe.
Maybe. I had just gotten my last regression done, and I apparently was a girl running away from predators that were looking to like running in the woods, like
Mm.
basically wearing nothing and running from my killers. And that that was like what I regressed to. And it took me, I had done regressions twice before that and then just became a hypnotherapist, but all my other ones were very much in the current life, and then I connected with another soul. So I knew it took a lot of time for me to be able to accept this and see this. And that was the one thing that I really felt was like there's lots of conscious energy
Yeah,
having to experience this because this is all happening right now. But also at the same time, we have contracts, and like I can't worry about all those children because there's contracts there, only way to expose the things that happen. So it's
right.
interesting that I'm glad that you've come to that place because it's so hard to wrap your mind around it any other way. But for some reason, when I know that we all have an agreement before we come here, it just kind of eased me too, with kind of
Yeah.
allowing that there and to kind of move on.
Yeah. And to just let it go. Right.
Yeah. Thank
And
you for sharing that. I really
yeah,
do appreciate that. And
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was actually so powerful. I mean, I like after that was just able to get up and support my family the rest of
that's
the
a
day.
huge, that's, I mean,
And I
that's,
like
that
wrote a
gave me
song actually
chills.
at the end
It
of the
gave me
day.
chills
Wow.
for you to be able to do something like that. It's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think too, like that taught me so much about my own inner strength in a way that like I never would have seen that, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever, my niece's contracts were like, I feel like, so, I'm sure it's much more with my mom, with her mom and all those things, but it definitely had a big impact on my life. So,
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. I often think that too, like in my own life with my family, like, I truly believe in contract. I believe in that. And it's
mm,
come up in many ways, in many books and many experiences. And knowing that we all know that this type of experience is short term. However, our souls are infinite, and knowing that we came here to learn and explore. And it's like keeping that in your mind when you go through these hardships with
yeah,
loss.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
I'm curious if we want to go back to, you said you had some amazing things going on, Tim, this month. I'm curious to know what that is. Would you be willing to share?
Yeah. I mean, that's for me, for that, I've had kind of a dream of, that I work with people, helping them build communities and portals and helping, the tech. And part of that, and part of the reason I think I've done that is for years, I've wanted to do that myself. And,
Mm-hmm.
so like this past month, there were a couple of things that happened. One, I had an employee that, I think I was sort of trying to push off things that I was supposed to do
Yeah,
on to him,
to
and it
them.
and it didn't really work out,
Mhm.
and where I think, not that someone else won't still hold that role later, but where I am is like I needed to be the one to do it.
Mhm.
And so it just like I really bit the bullet and dove in and just really executed on that. And we're actually just probably a few days away from launching our own portal, which is
That's
exciting.
wonderful. Yay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Tim. Congratulations.
That's
Thank
really
you.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It's
Cre-
not about spirit. It's not
Creating,
about spirit. It's about tech, but still,
but you
it's
created, and that's what you're in
yeah.
your
It's,
alignment, and that's where
yeah.
the co-creation or creation, like, and
Mhm.
sometimes those people that you pass on to weren't meant to be the ones doing it. It was meant to be all yours. So sometimes you need those like
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
interferences to
Oh, I have a good example about that.
go ahead.
Um, with my mass meditations, I've been doing them for 7 years now, but for the first 3 years, every single month, I didn't see it as something for me to guide. I saw it as something that the collective just needed to do and get together and have a one intention. So for 3 years, I was every single month going out of my way to find someone that knew how to do it. And I was wasting a lot of my own energy trying to trust the source and just all the things that come with it. And it literally, I don't even know what gave me the strength. I think I saw someone else guide one that I knew they hadn't guided before, and I was like, "Wow, that's like really encouraging to see that you just got up and did that." That literally might have just been it for me to see
Mhm.
someone else's example, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it this month." And ever since that month, now for 4 years after that, I've been every month, and I didn't realize that that was something that was going to open up for me, but that then got into my creating music. It literally just opened the door for everything that I had no idea was waiting for me. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's so funny. And I know this isn't exactly what you're saying, but sometimes when one door closes, two doors open.
Oh yeah,
And I kind of
for
look at
sure.
that as spirit calling, kind of what happened with Pamela's journey on how it even started, Tim, right? She had a partner, and sometimes our partners really are not meant to be there forever. And so I really do see this as this was something that Pamela contracted to do, like to take this on. And I've heard all of these amazing opportunities and windows open for her. I've had partnerships twice in my own businesses that didn't work out well, but we went a different path and learned so many different things and jumped into something else that we were more in alignment. Just like you said, letting go of things that were not meant to do it. It looked like this in the beginning, but the ending was never going to be that. So
And it
it's
constantly changes and shifts, it seems.
right. It's like this whole conversation is circling back to the to what we said
Well,
from the beginning.
Hilarious.
yeah, I really see like a second side of the coin here too, which is like, being willing to let go of the things that don't serve you and then daring to do
Mm,
the things
mhm.
that you feel really called to.
Yeah,
know?
Absolutely. That's a
Like
huge
that,
second piece.
yeah, that combo is just,
It's
I mean,
amazing.
what you were talking about, Nicole, of just like, finally daring to do the thing
Mhm.
that you wanted. And I think it's so cool too, because, you know, just by someone living their life, that light inspired you to take that action. And it's so
Mhm.
important to note that the same thing happens for us to other people all the
Right.
time as well. And so, man, yeah, that combo of,
Mhm.
surrender and daringness, that's just,
That's right.
Yeah.
I was going to also kind of what you were just saying, adding on that we have, these contracts in place in our physical lives with people we're passing on the streets, like we don't even know. But knowing that our energy extends off our body so like 100 feet off our aura, that you have a conversation through the phone, you have a conversation in the store, you just walk through, you are literally affecting their energy and changing them, whether you know it or not. Just your presence, your tone of voice, your anything. Like we have these contracts in place we're all connected with that. And it could just be the smallest thing that you see someone that you don't feel like but that contract that you had to see that to spark your DNA and everything to activate. It really is, we're all in this together, and to not be afraid because we're all on different, levels of it, but one's not higher or lower than the other. It's just different masteries of spirit, really. And
Mhm.
so being able to kind of just carry that with you and remember that whether you're up or down, however you're feeling, someone's contract is lifting you up and you're also lifting them up regardless. It's that ebb and flow dance, like in the background of energy. It's so beautiful. So, yeah,
So beautiful.
contracts everywhere.
And
Well,
how
and these
important.
days you don't even need to be in person. I mean, you got Zoom calls and
Mhm.
phone
Right,
calls and
exactly.
social
Well,
media posts. Doesn't even need to be the same time
Oh my
anymore.
gosh, yes.
So,
so much has been created through the ebb and flow, right? Like this
yeah,
whole opportunity of being on this call right now happened because we were not isolated and not allowed to like see each other in person. And so like I met Nicole, who was like this awesome rock star in like the Telegram world. And I say this often because it was funny because like I somehow managed to get on her channel and here I am like now besties with her. Like, I was so proud. I was like, oh my gosh, you've done so much. You've created so much. And here I had no idea that she was like, I didn't even do my meditations for 3 years. I'm like, what? I'm like, how is that possible? I can't see that because you've done so much. You're always putting yourself out there. And so, you know, thank you for sharing these stories because someone who hasn't taken that step yet, they never get to hear the people that struggle. They never get to hear the people that are making it or have done it. What did they go through? Tim, you sharing that story, no one would ever know like what was maybe a huge push for you in your life to get going and take risks and be present for yourself. So these
Absolutely.
this life journey and sharing is so important. And one reason why I like to talk about it, even though when it can kind of get somewhat groundbreaking, right? And edgy, because life is edgy, right? Man, sometimes it is. And it's like it's good to be like be able to just express it and get it out. And then like beautiful things will happen when you see the bigger picture. I think like maybe Tim, you were saying that too, when you got to that place of peace, you can start to see things from a different lens. And then you're not just stuck into one perspective of what could have happened and how, the other version that's just like, what are we doing going down that path? It's never going to help me. If anything, it's going to
right.
keep me in a lower vibration
Yeah. Or anyone else for that
or anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have like 10 more minutes. So does anybody else have any other topics or anything that they want to talk about? that, Nicole, I don't know if there's anything else that you had going on this month that you wanted to share. I know you sound like you got a lot of people buying kits and going out there and cleaning Mother Earth.
Yeah, lots of good stuff happening. Okay, this is kind of random, but I did want to share. So I saw some, I think Pamela posted in the Spirit Calling group a post about seeing signs of like birds and stuff like that, like crazy. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but oddly enough, I've been having, both my wife and I have been seeing ducks constantly, like this crazy signs. They're like showing up in our yard that we haven't seen in our yard for 4 years. It's like, what the heck? And then they're like randomly on a picture. They're just popping up everywhere. So we now have ducks that we got. So we are starting our little farm. We have chicks and ducks, and it's been the most rewarding thing. I didn't realize how,
I love
oh
it.
gosh, I just can't tell you how in the moment I have been. Like, time literally doesn't exist when I'm just like interacting with them, or just, it's nature.
Yeah, it's
But just
nature, and
being
you're like their
able,
and you are their mother, essentially they look to you as like they
Mhm.
survive because of you, and like that's what makes you so
Yeah,
present. Yeah.
that's probably so true. The bond that has happened just with working with all their different behaviors and just everything, it's just been really rewarding to me. Just to, let's just say, I never considered myself a bird mom
Yeah.
because I have like dogs and cats, but this just like opened up a whole new world to me. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what it's going to relate to in the future, but just rescuing in general and just being more connected with the planet and raising awareness about being connected with animals and the energy they have also, that are reminders to us and also keep us in line with the frequency we need to be in balance with, and harmony and connection. Just everything about it. I wanted to share that because I've also heard a lot of people been seeing signs and weird messages with just the bird family. And I also know that star seeds are directly correlated to the bird's family. So I just found that
So
really
cool.
interesting and is happening in the last couple weeks of my life.
Yeah, I know you showed me those little duck pictures. I don't know if you can show it because of where you are, but they were
Yeah,
adorable.
I unfortunately can't hear, but I can share in the
You'll have to
Spirit
share it in
Calling
the
group.
portal at some point. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, like maybe you do, but ducks specifically are often related, shamanically to spiritual progress, and waterfowl in general
Mm,
to
I
like
did know this.
emotional depth and intuition. Like any kind of waterfowl is
Oh, wow.
like flying high, but connected to
Mm,
water, which is typically like
heck yeah.
emotion
I
and
really
intuition.
resonate with that,
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
So you're becoming a mom of your spiritual freedom, you know?
Yay.
Yeah.
I like
That's
that
amazing.
perspective,
I got the chills just there.
honestly.
Right. Yeah. So amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's all about the perspective that you see and what you're experiencing in your reality, honestly. It's all
Hmm.
about the perspective. Life is beautiful. Let's just say that.
It sure is. I love like this time of year too, where we call it the green explosion, where like
Yeah,
everything's dead and then the buds come out and then boom, it's like a whole new world.
it
It was
is.
late this year too. Like last year, it was like it took
Mm,
like literally the green explosion over here was started like a week ago. I don't know, Madeline, if you can agree, but it's finally like really green everywhere where it was like kind of barren like 2.5 weeks ago.
mhm.
And Brian goes out and looking, my husband Brian goes out and looks for morels. And last year, around this time, he found these mega morels. They're mushrooms, they're like a delicacy they make with steak and stuff like that. And you can find them locally many places. But they were like rather large. Nicole, I don't know if you remember last year, but like they were like the size of my head.
Yes.
They were
Like
huge.
his arm, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like normally they're like the size of my finger. And he only found like I think 14 so far, and he's been going like every day. I said it's a late season, so you just got to be
Hmm.
patient. But
Yeah, it's
it's
interesting.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
Zinnia,
that
have you
means we can be a little bit late on our springing up too.
exactly
As
right?
above, so below.
I've
Hmm.
been getting into pickleball. I know this is
Oh
really
yeah.
random, but I've been really enjoying it.
Oh, that's not
And,
random.
well, it kind of
It's
is.
moving and connecting and having fun, returning
Yes.
to and
Well, that's
joy,
exactly it.
child. Yeah.
Talk about the inner child that I cut off like at the age of 13 and took life way
Literally.
too seriously.
Mhm.
You know, I just started picking it up and I'm like, I really want to do this. And this is something that brings me joy, and it does, it brings me my body, and I can feel my athleticism, and it's just fun. So I've been trying to make it a daily, or not daily, a weekly routine to at least play once a week. So
That's awesome. Good
yeah,
job.
thank
I
you.
think that's a question we should all really be asking
Yeah,
ourselves. Like, what do you like to do for fun? Honestly, because so many people are like, I don't know what I do. I don't know what I like.
right,
Like, who the heck am I even these days? Because all I am is all these programs. I'm trying to figure out what I'm not.
right.
But really asking yourself, what do you like to do? And remembering when you were a kid, what were those things when you were a kid that you loved to do? Because you're still that kid. You're
Hmm.
still in there. And so to ask yourself and do those things, returning to that childhood, fun, playful, laughing way more times a day, because it's sad how much less we laugh as an adult. That truly is how we can raise our vibration just with that. So I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of fun.
Well, yeah, that's, I guess I would say that's definitely been the fun aspect, even though it's making time for myself too. And if I
Yeah.
don't, I tend to like try to make everything okay around me. Again, the anxiety, that part of me like do, but this is like, no, this is the time for myself. So the time that I can be present and really enjoy it, and have fun. So that is definitely something I've been working on. Can we quickly go around and say, maybe bring up something that brings joy, and maybe that could be something that maybe next time when we visit we can say, hey, how did that go? Are you still doing that? Are you still going to the
Mhm.
drum circle? Or are you doing something that brings you joy? Can we go
Yeah,
around and share
I
something
like
that
it.
we all can do, possibly?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I can
Okay.
go. Yeah, I did. So I think for me, it's just like exploration, trying new things. Like that always is. I just enjoy that of
Hmm.
just like expand. I guess expanding all the things I know about and the experience. But I moved to Texas back in January.
You did?
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Where were you
So,
living before?
oh, I was just. I mean, I was kind of traveling around. A couple years before that, I lived in Boulder, but I kind of did like a
Oh.
nomadic thing for a couple
You're not
years.
far from where she was.
Yeah,
Hmm.
oh
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But having now moved to Texas, I decided to go to some line dancing classes because it was
Sweet.
Ooh,
just
that
like,
sounds like
and
fun.
That's
it's
so
been
fun.
super fun. Yeah, and
Good
yeah,
for you.
met some fun people, and
Heck yeah.
got some movement in, and
I love it.
learning how
That's
to be
so fun.
Texan, I guess.
That's right. Yeehaw.
Yeah, we're going to Texas.
That's awesome.
How about you?
Um,
Well, whoever wants to go. You want to go,
yeah,
Nicole
go ahead, Madeline.
or
Go ahead.
Madeline? You want to go?
Um, I've been thinking lately, I have my own apartment, I live alone, but I've been thinking about asking my mom if I can come over and like get some cooking lessons.
That sounds
Ooh,
great.
that's
'Cause
awesome.
she's like she's an amazing cook.
That's great. And
Oh,
not only that, it's bonding
Awesome.
time with your mom. Divine
Yeah.
feminine. That's so great to have that energy, especially around this time. This would be great.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. What are you going to make? What do you think you want to learn?
She makes really good quesadillas and tacos, but she also makes really good spaghetti and meatballs and like pasta bakes and um she can make really good steak.
Mm.
Um
You better
I
not tell me where you live because I'm just going to come over.
yeah.
I know
That
it's
sounds like
lunchtime now.
really, that sounds awesome. And then you guys can eat your meal together.
Yeah.
Cute.
That's great. All right. And
Yeah, it
like have
sounds
a
fun.
theme. Maybe it's like, well, Cinco de Mayo is coming, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, true.
Maybe
that's
you
true.
have that taco theme, and then you can make like a theme per week and like make it a date, with your
Yeah.
mom.
That
Cool.
sounds fun.
All right. Well, you post if you make some good meals. I want to see pictures in the
Hmm.
portal. All right. How about you, Nicole? What are you up to?
Um, okay, well, the weather's finally, as we've been saying, it's changing.
Hmm.
And so that always gets me excited. I got my bike out, but I still have to pump up my tires. Last year, I didn't go on nearly as many rides as I wanted to, which made me kind of sad. So, exploring new trails and actually getting on my bike is going to be like very high on my list and
Yeah.
exploring all around. Yeah, I'm really excited to do that, but
I had a
also
feeling you were going to
actually do
say
it.
that.
Heck yeah,
Love
that's
it.
my life.
Well, I want to see those pictures on the trails. Maybe you discover a new trail. Maybe that's kind of thing.
Oh,
Like
so many trails to explore.
find some new places and post some new places you get to see out there.
Yeah, it's a double win. Those are my two favorite things.
Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. I'm going to be honest. I love these calls because I leave literally like a new person. I know,
Same.
I know Nicole says that too. She goes, I love 5D all day. We need those calls because, like we said earlier, it could get pretty heavy out there. But I'm so glad to have met you, Madeline and Tim. It's so good to see your face and all that you've been bringing to Spirit Calling and just in
Mhm.
general to the world. So thank you for all that you do. And
Mhm.
Nicole, keep on high vibing with your sound healing and all your meditations. And I can't wait till next month. And if you guys have any ideas, please shoot a message into there's a space where 5D is. If you just have any suggestions on topics,
Mhm.
I'd love to hear your feedback. Okay. So that we
Sounds
can
great.
share more to YouTube and to our little group. So
Yay.
all right, y'all. Well, have a lovely weekend and we'll see you next
Yeah.
time. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
I'll see you
Bye.
later.
see ya.
Bye.